He loved people, bro. Like, if you ask multiple communities in the Bay Area, Filipinos will tell you Mac Dre with us. Mexicans will tell you, no, Mac Dre with us. White people tell you, nah, man, Mac Dre with us.
Yeah.
But Mac Dre would disappear for days. Like, man, where Dre at? He ain't answering his phone, man. He over here with y'all. He with your mama. He ain't even with you. He talking to your grandfather about some shit. So everybody saw him as a part of their community.
What's up, world? It's your boy Big Court on the Holding Court podcast. What's up with your producer, Ken?
Man, hey, if you from NorCal, there's these names that ring out. Factors in the game.
All right.
You know what I mean? We got one in today. I'm super excited. Being from Sacramento, it's been a name that we heard since, I was young.
Likewise. What's up with you, Rachel Renee?
It's a good day in California.
Amen.
Okay, I like that little rhyme right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, we have a special guest, man, a legendary, like as Ken said, a factor in the rap game, in the Northern Cali culture and rap game as well, Mr. Ray Love. What's good with you, fam?
Respect. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm actually a fan of the show.
Thank you, brother. I
real
appreciate
talk.
that.
Yeah,
Thank
I like what you're doing and the direction you're going. I think you're giving real knowledge, real game.
Thank you, brother.
to the younger ones and even some of the older ones. So
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, that's what our intention was when we created the platform. We wanted to give legends like yourself flowers, but we also wanted to preserve, our generation and that understanding, and that culture, and share it with the youth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let them know how this thing, how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So I want to start from the beginning, bro, a little bit, because I always, assume and act like the listener and the viewer doesn't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So, let's start from the beginning. So you from the Bay Area? What city specifically?
I'm from Santa Rosa, California.
Okay.
Right? That's where I got my start. I grew up in all over the place. Like I probably went to 29 different school districts in the time period that I was in school.
Wow.
I lived in New York. I was born in New Orleans. I lived in LA. I lived in Oakland. I lived in Richmond. I lived in San Francisco. I lived in Vallejo.
Damn. Why so much moving around? Why?
So my family is pretty unique. My grandmother, my father's mother, she always had beer gardens and restaurants and everything. And she kind of created this family business that my father continued. So we always had restaurants and we always did carnivals and we always had food trucks and entertainment from that regard. My birth mother passed when I was 3 years old. And my father remarried Cab Calloway's daughter.
Wow.
So from 5 years old up, I was like a illegitimate Calloway, so to speak, right?
Okay.
But my mother, I grew up kind of with the OGs. So I grew up watching Cab shows and going to the shows and watching the founders of what became the music business. Cab had to be about 70 then when I was little. But sometimes I tell some of the older guys, oh, I was in the, Venetian room at the Fairmont.
Yeah.
And they was like, you can't be. They haven't had a Venetian room for 40 years.
Right.
Like I was in the Venetian room at 10 years old with a little suit on and we would get to go to the early show and then they'll send y'all upstairs and then everybody cat off for the later show, right? So I learned the business. I got to see professionalism, what it looks like when it's done properly. The story in my family on that side is my great aunt, Blanche Calloway, was the first singer, first entertainer in our family. But I found out recently that wasn't true. Our family and music actually go back to slavery, that side of the family. Cab Calloway the first was a slave. He was born on a plantation in Callaway, Virginia. And he was born the same week the slave master had a child in the field and he had a child in his house. They were born the same week and they were brothers. But they were, obviously there's the separation. But music was already a part of in the slave quarters, what was going on. So the Cab Calloway the first gave taught his white brother music, and the white brother taught him to read. Slavery ends. Cab Calloway I leaves from Callaway, Virginia. He goes to Baltimore. He opens up a speakeasy, and they said he was a sporting life. Is what we call a player today. I tell you this story because understanding the relevance of this generation, right? I spent a lot of time. I'm actually working on a TV show that's about that very same thing, right?
Wow.
The history of it. So I want the young people to know why we say pop our collar and jack our slacks and say all that slick shit, right? Where it comes from.
Yeah.
Cab Calloway II, I think he was a doctor, and his wife was a school teacher, which is the parents of my grandparents, right? Blanche Calloway is the first female lead singer in American history. There's nobody before her. She's right there before Josephine Baker, right around that time period, early 20s, roaring 20s. She was making $350 a week when Louis Armstrong was making $19 a week.
Wow.
And she invited her brother to come up and, see what she was doing. She was in Chicago at the Sunset Cafe. Sunset Cafe is like Joe Glazer. He's a famous guy who put a lot of artists on. His partner, silent partner, was Al Capone. Cab comes to New York. He sees what his sister's doing. But what's about to happen is the crash in 1929. The irony of the crash in 1929 is that the rich, wealthy people lost all their money, and the poor people that had nothing elevated. By 1931, my grandfather records Minnie the Moocher, which was his first single by a black artist to go platinum. He was the first artist to go black artist to go platinum. The only other artist to go platinum outside of that was actually like an Italian artist that moved to America. So we like to say he was the first artist, American to go platinum. He forgot the words. The song blows up. He goes on the road, and he's making phenomenal money. He's making...
And this is your grandfather?
It's my grandfather.
Okay.
He's making $200,000 a month.
In 1930.
1933.
Wow. Okay.
But what they did with the money back then, and you're going to understand the point of why I'm taking you this journey, right? Because it has everything to do with what's going on today. Back then, black entertainers couldn't stay in hotels.
Right.
They couldn't navigate the world the way we navigate it today.
Yep.
So everybody that was employed, like they employed the whole Harlem. Everybody in Harlem had a job working for them. So that $200,000 was effectively government assistance before government assistance, right? And then they would go all over the country. And when they came to a black neighborhood like St. Louis, Louisiana, New Orleans, they would come there and they would stay, and you had to stay in somebody black's home. So they would pay for the band and everybody to stay in the home, and you would eat at Miss Mary's house, and your clothes, if something ripped, everything, money was coming from, there was a black economy.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? Because they didn't have support. First black person that, in my family, they say that was allowed to stay in a hotel in New York City was Louis Armstrong. He broke that barrier. Louis Armstrong is like the big brother to my grandparent.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
He was the one that kind of taught them the game, and the slick talk.
So
right?
you had entrepreneurship in your family.
Built
that was model for you.
Built into my family.
Okay.
My mother was a singer. My aunts were singers and performers. And like I said, on the other side, my grandmother did restaurants, beer gardens, all of that. So entertainment is hardwired in me as long as I can remember.
Got you.
Most of the people I know are in some part of entertainment. And over these years, I've had record labels. I have a management company, really successful. We'll talk about that a little later with my nephew.
For sure.
I made records. I wrote records, gold, platinum, and all that kind of stuff. That was kind of baked into it.
Right.
So my mother was the one that kind of prepared me for the business.
Okay.
And then I met Tupac when I was like 15.
Right.
And
this was in Marin City.
This is in Marin City. I met Tupac through Layla Steinberg, who was like my first manager. How I met Layla was interesting. I was getting out of high school. when I was in junior high, I got in trouble. And my parents sent me to a Christian private school, but they couldn't afford it.
What was the trouble you got? Did you catch a case or you just was fighting?
me and the homies, we was up to it.
Okay.
You know, we was trying to be something we wasn't quite yet.
Yeah.
But my parents sent me to a private school, Christian school, and they wanted me to straighten up, but they couldn't afford it to keep me there. I stayed there from the beginning of 8th grade to the end. And then when I got out of 8th grade, I went to junior high. I ended up junior high with all my friends. When I got to high school, I'm like, oh, I'm finna go to the high school with the homies. Nah, they sent me to Santa Rosa High School, which was a predominantly white school. Phenomenal music program, phenomenal drama program. I took choir. Our choir was number 3 in the state. Our band was number 7 in the state. Every year, we was always at Disneyland.
So,
we was always doing
so
something.
Hold on. So Ray Love can sing?
A little something, something. I mean, I'm more, let me put it this way. I'm not going to sing if I'm in a room with real singers.
Okay, I got
It's like
you.
I can play piano, but if Shock G's in the room, like, why? Let him do his thing. You feel me?
What are you, soprano, alto?
No, I was a tenor when I was younger.
Okay.
Bass
I was about to say, don't say falsetto. I was about to
No.
He can get his albie on you.
I'm about to say Elder Barjo.
I wish like when I back in the 80s, I wish I could have. You know, I'm more of a.
And them falsettos get money,
man.
They get money.
Shout out to Elder Barjo and I'll be sure.
I'm more of a Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Love TKO.
So is that where you met Tupac in high school?
So the irony of me and Tupac's relationship was he went to Mount Tan, which was a predominantly white school. One day I'm getting out of high school. It's the last 3 days of 10th grade. And there's this little short Jewish lady passing out flyers. And the flyer is for Egyptian Lover, Rodney O and Joe Cooley, and General Jeff performing in Santa Rosa. And it's going to be for the summer. And she says, you know, I'm looking for artists that want to perform on this show. And, you know, the interesting thing about rap music for me, I can remember where it started. I can tell you the day. I can tell you how it started. I was sitting on my couch. It's 1985. And they had these 3 young men from Chicago. And they was rapping over Run DMC instrumentals, and they were on the news. They made the news. And I was like, shit, I think I'm better than I could do that. I had just been writing in my book. Nobody in my family had ever heard me rap. None of my siblings, nobody. But I had been kind of getting some bars down, and I'm like, I just don't have no music. And I'm like, they made the news rapping on an instrumental. So I wrote me a rap, went to school the next day, and I'm at the bus stop. It's cold. We stand in line. I'm out there with the homies. This is junior high school. I say my rap, and everybody went crazy. Niggas went crazy. They're like, bro, that's good. Like you could do it. So in first break, they like, man, Ray, come over here and do that rap that you did this morning. I do the rap. Now it's more people. Lunchtime. Now it's like 20, 30 people. Man, do that rap that you did. I feel like I've been a rapper from the very first day that I let somebody hear a rap.
Who was your influences at the time?
Run DMC was a huge influence. Ice-T, huge influence. Too Short is a no-brainer because there was nobody really before him. I'll say Calvin T and Magic Mike a little bit later on. But in 1985, I was just amazed that somebody anywhere near my house was making music, made a record.
Calvin T and Magic Mike, they were from Richmond.
Calvin T and Magic Mike is from Richmond. They're the Richmond version of what like Too Short and
remember
Freddie
that.
B.
I remember them.
It was Coog Nut and IMP in Frisco.
It was Coog Nut was out back then?
Coog Nut was about to be out. Like Coog Nut was Coog Nut is a legend.
Rest
bro.
in peace to Coog Nut, by the way.
Even without the records, he's a legend.
He
My first
voice,
day meeting Coog Nut.
He had that voice.
Bro, we had a party and it was like Eazy-E was there. First day I meet Coog Nut, he walks up to me like, man, they say you could rap. Let me hear you rap. Man, you dope. That's what's up. He said, so listen, we about to turn this party out. So I'm going to give you a heads up because I like you, little bro. so you probably should get your homies and get up out of here. It's about to go down. And I'm like, and I walk over to the homies like, man, I just met Cool Nut, and he said they about to turn the party out. Like, man, he ain't finna turn the party out. And they start getting down. Everybody running. This is my introduction to Frisco. The Bay Area was different in the 80s. It wasn't like it is today. Today you see 4 young men in a car, one from Richmond, one from Oakland, one from Vallejo, one from San Francisco. Back then, it's funny that the young people don't believe in passes. I don't want to call and get a pass. I don't want to get a heads up, a check in. You're not checking in because you're afraid. You checking in because you don't know what happened here last night.
That's right.
A kid could have been killed right here on this corner, and your dumb ass is out here like
Fancy
with all
free,
your jewels
like
on,
good,
and you flossing. You don't know what happened.
It's hot. Yeah.
My grandfather, going back to what I just told you, we couldn't even navigate the business or the country without checking in. But now the arrogance is that, oh man, I'm at the Beverly Hills Hotel, man, I don't have to check in with no man. But that's why we having so many problems, because checking in is connecting with your people.
That's right.
You did.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So long story short, rewind. I meet Layla, and up until that time, I was only doing shows. Like I would do shows at all the junior highs. Then I did all the high schools in my area. And I would go to my principal and say, man, I want to do lunch at this school. And everybody give me a quarter, give me 50 cents, you know. That was kind of like my hustle. I don't think my parents took me serious until like they was like, Black people problems. Like, man, the light bill. And I said, oh, here, I'm pouring coins out. Where you get this money from? Man, I'm rapping. I'm a rapper now.
Yeah.
Man, go on with that, man. You all right? I'm a rap.
It was a pipe dream, baby.
It was a pipe dream.
Yeah.
But it was a business, right? It was a business. In the beginning, I understood that if I do a real good job, people will pay me for it. Fast forward, I meet Layla. She says, if you want to be in this show, come to my house this weekend. I'm like, all right. I come to Layla house on the weekend. It's probably about 10 of us. And everybody trying out. And to me, I think I'm the baddest. Back then, battle rapping wasn't like you got in a room and everybody battle rapped. It was like my neighborhood. I'm the best from my neighborhood. You the best from your neighborhood. Maybe it was like an offshoot of break dancing type of thing. And everybody would get together and you spit yours, I'll spit mine. And then the crowd, your homies is going to say whether you won or not. My homies going to say whether we won or not. And if we can't agree, we probably was going to end up fighting.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, like I felt like I was the best. So before I meet Tupac, there was a group, shout out to Gable, shout out to Marku, from Marin City. They used to make tapes. And the tapes was like, they would make tapes talking about how fly they was from Marin City. And we would make tapes talking about how fly we was from Santa Rosa. And we was all kind of chasing the same girls. So the girls and the D-boys, the dope dealers, was the ones that would be playing the tapes. And I knew of them and didn't know them. Tupac was on these tapes, right? When he said later on, One Nation MCs was based on the concept of these early groups. Even Thug Life, shout out to Marku. Thug Life was a rap between two dudes from his neighborhood. And it was almost like a comical type of thing, right? They had this whole little skit they would do together, and it was about the thug life, right? So I meet Layla. We do a show. We do Rodney-O and Joe Cooley. I meet Rodney-O and Joe Cooley. Meet Egyptian Lover. Now I'm bit by the bug. And like, you can't tell me that I'm not official. I'm still in high school, though. I'm probably 14. I'm just starting high school. And one day, Layla's in Marin City, and she's reading a book. She's reading Winnie Mandela's book. I'm laying the groundwork to show you what kind of individual Tupac was. He walks up behind her while she's reading the book, and he starts quoting from the book. And the book is like, a piece of me went with him. It's her story, and it's about her love for Nelson Mandela. and her commitment to the cause, right? And Tupac walks up behind her. He's like 16, 17, and he starts quoting quotes from the book. She turns around. Who is this young man? And it's Tupac. Mm-hmm. And they start talking, and she comes back and says, I met this young rapper. He's really talented. He's from Marin City. And the weird thing, maybe it's like this in most Black neighborhoods, but Marin City and Santa Rosa is pretty much relatives to each other. We got cousins over there, and we cousins to them, etc. But we often would fight and didn't get along and this and that. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear no rap from the jungle and da. She's like, no, I'm telling you, you should meet this guy. And I'm trying to get Layla to manage me and my man Dizzy. He's back then we had, I think, one turntable and a mixer and one of them, the 2 cassette decks. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, this dude, he gonna cut in on our spot. She said, well, just meet him. Mind you, Layla's 27 at the time. Right. She's got, 2 kids. Mm-hmm. She's married. And she doesn't have much resources, but all of her resources today, you know her, you know that she'll give her last to any kid, your kid, any kid, not your kid. Like she don't know him, she gonna give her last. She gonna drive to the end of the earth. So she brings Tupac over, and man, bro, this brother was the weirdest looking dude. Maybe I shouldn't use weird out here in LA. I know casting. He just was very foreign looking to us, right? Now, mind you, I'm saying this with a iced tea can go on, one of them belt buckles with your name on it. My name at the time is MC Rock T, though. Right? I got the cheap shell toe Adidas from Kmart. Not even the real, not Run DMC, but I'm feeling myself. I got some Levi's jeans on. And I'm thinking, this dude look weird. This ain't gonna work out.
Is this hot top fade Tupac?
Hot 360 degree part Tupac. He got jeans on with the cow print on him. He stands slew footed. Like he fresh out of New York. And his rap name is MC New York. MC New York and Rock T. And he walks in. And he like, what's up? Oh, good to meet you. Good to meet you. Very humble, voice very low. I say, Layla say you could rap. You dope. Like, man, yeah, a little something. And he goes, yeah. She said that you spit. I'm like, yeah, I do my thing. I'm bragging. At the time I'm rapping about tennis shoes, girls, shooting hoop with the homies. Like I have no point of reference for life for real. First words this man says to me. I say, can I hear something? He say, yeah. He say, as real as it seems, the American dream ain't nothing but another calculated scheme to get us locked up, shot up and back in chains, to deny us of our future and rob our name. Kept my history a mystery, but now I see the American dream ain't shit to me. Because Lady Liberty's a hypocrite. She lied to me, promised me freedom, education, and equality, but never gave me nothing but slavery. Now look at how dangerous you made me, calling me a madman because I'm strong and bold with the mouthful of whole time I'm sitting there like this.
Is that Feeney? Is that Feeney?
He on some other shit.
Yo. Well, I'm not understanding what is happening right now. Right? He say, I love to be in a group with y'all. I'm like, man, that's done. First day we record 5 songs.
Wow. What was the name of the group?
Strictly Dope.
Okay.
Strictly Dope. Okay. And the irony, right? Like in the new documentary, there's a whole thing about me writing Trap for him, right? I wrote the first verse of Trap,
which was on Tupac.
It's his first single on Tupac Lips Now.
Yeah.
The crazy part about it is that our understanding of music, he had the words, but our understanding of music, our first time in the studio for real was together. So all throughout his career and all throughout my career, we took bits and pieces of those very first songs, all the way up until Machiavelli, there's bits and pieces, right? Tupacalypse Now, I wrote all over that album, not just that one thing, but I can't take credit for that because throughout my entire career, I took bits and pieces of shit that you wouldn't even know is really Tupac shit. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like we came up and hustled together, and I can't even take credit for anything. Tupac didn't need a rapper. I'm telling you, when I heard this man rap, that was the most amazing rapping I ever heard in person in my life up until that moment, and maybe since.
Wow.
I was beyond impressed to this day. I'm humbled by who this individual, really was.
Yeah.
And the most amazing part is the rapping was the least of who he was as a human being. I've seen Tupac sacrifice for people that he does not know. One night we at my apartment, and one of my homeboys comes over, and his friend is a Mexican dude, and my friend is black. They come in and they just got jumped by a whole party of, mind you, we're in high school, so a whole party of grown men, maybe college age and older, white men, beat this man bloody. Pac sitting there. He don't know my homeboy or his friend. I'll tell you why I say this. He believed in black and brown love and support, and he believed in it in a very authentic way. The one who got the worst of it was the Mexican brother, right? Pac says, nah, fuck that. We gotta go address this. They like, man, it just happened right around the corner. He's like, man, they like, bro, but it's like 50, 60 people out there. He like, nah, we gotta go address this right now. Forever the leader, the tip of the spear. He goes around there. He walks up to the crowd. He brought him with him. He said, which one of you put your hands on my homeboy? He don't know either one of these people.
Wow.
The dude is big, buff, older, grown men. He say, what? Which one of you put your hands on my homeboy? And the first one that stepped up and said, me, we start rumbling. Now, mind you, it's 7 of us. It's 40 people on that other side. We fighting. Police come, we run. Of course, the police chase the black people and the Mexican dude. Nobody says nothing to them. Then they bring all 40 people over to the house, which was my house, where they caught us and lined us up. And it's a crowd of white dudes. And the police are like, which one attacked you? And Pac says, you don't think there's nothing wrong with this? And the police says, what you mean? He said, you got a white mob asking 7 black children, minors, which one of them attacked you? So I was the one that actually swung on the dude first, and they going down the line. As soon as it got to me, he snapped, stepped in. He would rather go to jail than me go to jail. He would rather get in trouble than me get in trouble. And I have 100 incidents like that I could show you back to back. I speak on it because people say shit like, oh, Pac wasn't no gangster. Pac wasn't a gangster. He was something above and beyond that. He didn't fight for money. He didn't fight for fame,
right?
For attention, for clout. He did it on principle, because there's a reason to die for her right now. There's a reason to die for you right now. And he was prepared to do that. I don't even know what to say about that. I wasn't mature enough yet to understand. I had to grow up. I was well into my 30s before I began to understand. And he was a year older than me. Before I began to understand who this individual was that we lost at 25.
Right. And that rearing, and you didn't realize at the time, did you know his background when you met him? Did you understand the Black Panther influence and his mother?
Weird thing. First day I met him, I'm a homeless kid. I am 15, pretty much like not at home a lot. My home is tumultuous. I grew up dealing with a lot of violence and abuse in the home. addiction in the home. I didn't want to go home. And one day I just left. I meet Pac and he's like, just come home with me. I'm going to take you home to my mom. We're going to talk and it'll be good. And I'm like, you live in Marin City. I can't even go to Marin City. My brother was funking with people from Marin City. You understand what I'm saying? Like real dangerous shit. He's like, nah, I'm going to take you with me. If they get you, they got to get me too. Zone neighborhood. So you see the video of Pac when he's 17 and they like, he looked sensitive, he looked this, he looked that. That kid was thumping with grown men every day. That kid in that video was fighting grown men every day on principle. Somebody put their hands on a black woman in front of him, he's snapping, he fighting grown men every day. This is before the streets. This is before the drug dealers kind of got it, was around. Like he was really young and immature and idealistic. We go to Marin City. We meet Marcoux. Marcoux was a couple of years older than us. And Marcoux, he was like, cool, like Ray got a problem out here with people. And Cool was known for, they call it, you know, crazy cool. Like they didn't want it with Cool. So he was like, nah, I'm gonna make sure you got a pass, you good. And he takes me to the house to meet his mother and his sister. And he's like, Ray don't have nowhere to go. And Afeni takes me into their home. And this is like food stamp days. This is already not enough food days. This is already not enough. And she took me in and they shared with me from day one.
Wow.
My work on Tupac's behalf. Tomorrow he gets a star in Hollywood. He just got a street in Oakland. We just worked our ass off for years to make that happen. My work for this family has nothing to do with music at all. Me and Pac only recorded 23 songs together ever. Our relationship was not based on music at all.
And it's funny that you say that because that was actually what I wanted to ask you. Being that Tupac had such a vast catalog, and being that you were so close to him and also a rapper, you're not on much of his music. So what's that attributed
well,
to?
let's say both things though. Only 23. There's dudes that ain't even got 23 songs that came out the rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
sure.
Right.
That's a lot.
But then given to but then based on the fact somebody like Tupac who recording 500 songs.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Me and Mac Dre, like I work for Mac Dre's mother and his daughter in whatever capacity that they need me. Me and Mac Dre recorded 3 songs, maybe 4 songs together because our relationship wasn't based on music either. I was on a dope track with my homies. Like we had crack in our mouth and I was writing raps with nowhere to go. And I went to high school with Mac Dre's cousin Los, and he pulled up one day. It was the day before the Mac's funeral. So the Mac is where Mac Dre, Mac Mall, shout out to Mac Mall, my little brother, where, you know, Mac Duna, where all the Macs and the Crest get their name from. The Mac had just got killed in a mistaken identity. And he's like, tomorrow's the Mac's funeral. My relationship with the Mac is go back to the time of when I met Tupac. The Mac had a record cover that's like, it was like the only other person I saw do this was really Ice-T at the time.
The one Dre redid?
The one Dre redid.
Yeah,
and the Mac is on the cover and they're in silk and ballies and they got guns and the girls and the cars. And like, I'm looking at this record like, yo. And then when I flipped it over, the number on the back was 707 for business inquiries. That's my 707. That means they live by my house. One day I need to find these dudes and work with them. Los picks me up. He said, I gotta stop and get Dre an outfit for the funeral. So he stopped to get Dre an outfit, got me an outfit for the funeral too. My first day coming to the Crest was walking into the church for the Mac's funeral, which is how I met them. After that, we in Crest Park. Dre like, I heard you could rap. Pac had started working on his record, but he was mostly touring with Digital around Same Song. And which was the first record he was on for Digital Underground.
Right.
And Dre heard me rap and was like, I love your rapping. I think you dope. He was like, man, I want to help you get signed. And I'm like, man, I love to get signed, right? All my friends is getting signed to majors. He's like, we not a major, but I can help you get some money in your pocket. 48 hours later, $23,000 was in my hand. That was my first real rap money.
And that's from Young Black Brother.
Yeah. And and Dre takes me home to Mac Wanda's house, and they got a 5-bedroom house, and Mac Wanda got a Benz and a BMW, and they gave me my own room to sleep in. And I'm like, yo, who is Mac Dre? Like, who is this dude? He always been Mac Dre. Always been fly.
And let me ask you, so is this Mac Dre from On My Toes, California Love?
No, this is
no California Living.
Yeah,
California
you close. He's working on California Living at the time. This is right after Too Hard for the Fucking Radio time period, right? Yeah. And the irony of like my relationship with Dre is the reason why I wanted to sign over there was to be with Dre. And we doing shows and having the best time. We go to Fresno, we do a show, meet a bunch of girls out there. The girls in Fresno is turned up. We turned up. 2 weeks later, a week later, we want to go back to Fresno. But I'm so broke, like I don't have no money. I want to go. I'm trying to go. I want to go, right? I asked DJ C, who was our DJ, man, can I borrow $100 and some weed? He was like, no. He was like, hell no. Like, you want me to pay for your little like fun games? And Fred, like, man, no, you need to be in the studio. You need to be working. So I didn't go. A few days later, Dre and him was arrested out there. I know that Dre went out there to hang out with girls. Mac Dre. Like that was the highlight of his day. He wasn't on that. But, but the point is, doesn't matter, right? There was a lot of convolution, and both of us were very mouthy in our music. All of us, my whole squad.
I mean, that was hip hop though. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And I think the police really looked at us as a significant threat because their children was listening to it and being influenced by it. And so they was embarrassed by that. The Day of California Love video, I went to jail in Vallejo. And the Vallejo police took me to the other side of town where who they thought were enemies of the Crest and released us into the enemy's neighborhood. But I was so unknown, I didn't know nobody. You know, it didn't affect me like that, but it definitely was a beef between the Black community and the police department at that time.
And this is where Punk Police and
this is where Punk Police and all of that came from. For me, I believe that you dance with the girl that you came with. You stick with the squad that you came with. You know, as long as everybody is honorable to one another.
That's right.
You don't need to go anyplace else, right? I want to take my team to the Super Bowl, right? I know this is the time of free agency, right? Artists go to whatever labels pop and get signed, get a check. I don't know how to do that. Never knew how to do it. These are always where my loyalty lies.
Let me ask you, with Young Black Brother, did they ever have major distribution? I believe, wasn't it?
Atlantic? We signed to Atlantic.
Right.
That was how do I put it? So we signed to Atlantic 6 months before Time Warner sold Interscope. Why that's relevant is the reason why they sold Interscope was because they were embarrassed over gangster rap. Tupac Records, what became Death Row and all of that. They were really embarrassed of that. The vice president had issues with it. A young man in Texas killed a state trooper, said he was listening to a Tupac record at the time.
That. Yep.
And it became very just a strange time to be signed. So they were basically paying us to stay home.
Okay.
I released Forever Hustling. It was people say it's a classic. It did really well. It didn't go gold because they didn't want it to. They wanted it to be quiet. They didn't want it was an election time period. They didn't want to smoke with that, right?
Okay.
And so that affected me. Like every step of the way in this business, I've seen so many different elements of it. And I started a company with my nephew, with my homeboy, called Tanyard. Tanyard Management is basically to help artists be successful, but not just be successful, how to be successful. When my mother was doing music, A&R meant artists and repertoire.
Right.
So they would sit down and do media training like
Yep.
we doing
Yep.
right now. They would
Yep.
be able to do interviews. Your first few years, man, you don't just go shacking up with any random person that you meet, male or female, whatever your thing is, right? They taught you how to protect yourself and what you're supposed to do with your bread. They say Magic Johnson, when you sign with his company, you know, no expensive watches your first year, no expensive cars your first year. No, because he realizes if I could get you through that first year or two without this, I can pretty much guarantee your success for the rest of your life, because this is the complicated time.
Right.
This is when all the snakes start coming out. Nowadays, they got the gold digger websites where they got you how much you made, what your favorite color is, where you come from, do we like fried chicken or fried fish? And they know, and the game know how to work you.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So we have artists that sign to us that have huge records. Nobody want to pay them. These kids coming out of the worst areas. We got an artist, J Knack, out of Alabama. We got a artist, Lake God, out of Utah. We got Creeper out of Denver. We got artists that are, we got J-Man out of Houston. They all coming from really tough situations. And I've never seen the business like it is right now, where nobody, it's almost like it's scamming or swiping. Like, they don't want to pay the artist. They don't get statements no more. I always had statements. An attorney. I got every contract I ever signed at my attorney. Same attorney since I was 18. I got a bunch of them now, but I still have my original attorney. I still know I can show you the trajectory of my career, right?
Right.
Artists today is in a world of trouble. I can teach every artist how to double their money right now. Anybody listening to me right now, you want to double your money? Audit your record company and your distributor.
Yeah. But what do you think is attributed to the fact that they're going in not knowing they're not getting proper representation and they just signing whatever?
Well, yes, there's that. But it's not just about that. What it's about too is we used to make stars. They used to be, when we came up, there was a Michael Jackson, there was a Prince,
it was a different,
even like
whole
a Tupac.
different thing. Yeah.
Nobody wants that no more. You know why?
Right.
Because if you make a Whitney Houston and she wants 100 million, you got to give her that 100 million because she earned it. You want a person earn that Michael Jackson money, you got to break that Michael Jackson bread off. But it's easier to take a kid who don't know nothing, get you 7 or 8 platinums back to back to back, and burn your ass out, bro. Burn you out. And then you back in the ghetto, and they got all the bread. That is a travesty. That's what's wrong with the culture. You want to know what's wrong with the music? Is that we're not involved in the music no more. Because see,
when you say we,
I'm going to tell you what I mean. My first single was about Malcolm X. They had a meeting, and they was like, we like your song, but you know, people really don't want to hear about such like, can't you make a song about smoking weed and like hanging out with girls and driving nice cars on big rims? Like, man, this is a real conversation.
Right.
Rap about money. Everybody likes money. My second single was Get Your Money On. Great record. People liked the record, right? People danced to the record. The record was high energy. But my first single was about Malcolm X. That's what I wanted to rap about. You see what I'm saying? So why I say we're not involved in it is if I'm hungry and I have nothing to eat.
Right.
And I walk into a record company, I know what I need to do to get this check. To get this bag. I'm not gonna be aggressive. Man, we walked into Atlantic, the whole table. It's a table from here to that wall over there with 18 people sitting at the table, and they all listening to one person. A bunch of fucking robots.
Right.
And they sitting there, And the lady at the end of the table is listening to my record, and she's doing like the all off beat and shit. As soon as she start tapping on the table, then the rest of them, oh yeah, I think I like this.
You have people not even in the culture or don't understand the culture making decisions.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
The reality of it is that I don't blame it on any one thing.
Yeah.
But I am aware, and I was having a conversation with a partner of mine about football.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know, if you ask most players in the NFL that are our age,
mm-hmm.
they'll tell you, I don't know that I want my kid to play football.
Right.
Right? CTE and other
mm-hmm.
things that are long-term effects of playing that game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you got a real team around you, when you go into college, even if you in the top 10 players in the country, you're going to make sure you get that other side, get that law degree, get that other degree. Make sure that when it's over, you can do your business, you can get your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we just feeding kids to the system.
Yeah.
Because 80% of football players is going to have to get a job when they leave the NFL.
Yeah.
But we done got all the shirts, the jerseys, the Super Bowl. We had a great time, right?
Mm-hmm.
We enjoyed your play.
Mm-hmm.
But you selling mattresses on local TV.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
After it's over. Same thing with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong. This is the business where you put out a whole pizza and we gonna keep all the slices and give you one. And then after we take our slices, we gonna come back for yours.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you're successful.
Right.
So if you Michael Jackson, if you Prince, if you whoever, we want that back.
Mm-hmm.
And what we'll say is, man, you don't really know how to run your business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let us run that for you.
Right.
Well, what do you mean? I don't know. But the whole way they knew you didn't know how. Same way if you a high school sports player, you know this kid can't read, but man, he run a 4.3, 4.2, and a 40, right?
Yeah.
So we just gonna keep sliding him through.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem for me. And that's why I started the company. I didn't need to be in the business in that way because it's a very aggressive position to be in.
Right.
And at my age, I'm kind of over it. Like I said,
yeah.
we got goals, we got platinums.
Yeah.
We all right, everybody over here. Nobody missing a meal. But that being said, I'm trying to prevent what happened to me, what happened to Pac,
right,
what happened to other artists from continuing.
Now,
What
I want to pivot
Dre?
I want to pivot real quick.
Yeah.
So you saying what happened to Pac? Do you feel like with all the records that Pac sold, now we're talking about before he passed away, do you feel like he was treated fairly as an artist?
I can't speak to before. I'm gonna tell you something that'll blow your mind. You know, Afeni sold more records than Tupac.
What do you mean?
So in Tupac's life, Tupac sold a lot of records. A lot. Afeni's brilliance was that she was not a part of the music business and she had no music business background, and she was able to navigate it successfully and sold more records posthumously than Pac did in his life. The thing is that you might be surprised to know, and I won't even speak specifically about that situation, but I'll tell you this. You would be surprised to know that if you have a $200 million brand and you say, you know what, I think I just want to set it on fire, or I don't want to release records anymore. Like we're just gonna take our $2 million estate and walk away. We don't want to do this anymore. You can't even do that. Do you know that the industry at large will take you to court and take that shit from you? Yeah. If you own Coca-Cola, you think you could just set it on fire? No, they're going to say you're crazy and they're going to take it from you. You don't own what you think you own unless you are raising your babies to know how to run what you bequeath to them. Let's say you have 10 properties. You own 10 real estate properties. If you raise them and they don't know how to take care of those properties, they don't know what to do with them, you are saving those properties for someone else to take from them.
Right.
Same thing. Intellectual property, no different. All of my kids know how to run businesses. They either have them, they know how to run them, and they are prepared to take over in the event of my demise. Word to Tupac. You dig? That's the truth. There is no other way, because while we're at the strip club and while we flipping shit, someone else is plotting on taking your children's future.
Right.
A stick-up kid rob you for what you got on. Take this shit. These motherfuckers will take your future, your children, your grandchildren's future. I sat with a Fanny last year of her life, and she planned out to take care of her family for 6 generations. Humbled me.
Wow.
Humbled me.
Wow.
You got a 100-year plan. Humbled me.
Wow.
You supposed to have a plan longer than your life.
Right.
Your kids are supposed to have a plan longer than their life.
Right.
She planned for her grandkids. So made me really hip. Like, I gotta get to
So
work.
with you saying that, right? Let's pivot a little bit, because now you're speaking to the estate of Tupac.
Yeah.
But you're a part of that family. And where
ever since I was 15
ever
years
since
old,
you were
spending
15.
food stamps.
So where's the estate now? What is going on with that now?
So there is a lawsuit. You can look it up online. Rolling Stone, Billboard, a bunch of people wrote about it. There's a lawsuit between the estate and Schoech, Tupac's sister. And a lot of it is about how they handle her and the children, how they handle the business and the brand of Tupac, and how they handle people that worked very hard to create that. So if I were to pass away, right? And you want to know, how do we do a Ray Love project? And you my homeboy, right? Let's say y'all want to do, and you my homeboy, and that's my son. That you gonna go to the people that did the projects or the people that was there. Like, you can't take nothing away from Schoech's opinion, because when we was first writing raps, we was writing them in her bedroom. We would lock her out the door. She's the first one. Kool Herc's little sister, I think her name is Cindy. She really is the birth of hip hop, not them. She's the first fan of it, the first writer of it, and the first perpetuator of it. Schoech was the one who cut the 360-degree haircuts and did our hair and did our clothes for the very first groups we was in. How does her opinion not matter? Now, I have no financial dog in the fight, but I do know this much. There's a whole bunch of people that love pop, that love Defani, that knows that they should be treated fairly and with respect. Now, the trustees and attorneys and all of them, you know, I mean, they're a part. They were a part of creating Tupac and keeping it up and lit, right?
Yeah.
But no offense, you are an employee,
right,
of this.
That's
family,
what I was about to say. So is the family reaping the benefits, or is it the workers, the employees?
I think that's to be determined. With the case, what it says in the case is that there's they're you can read it for yourself. They're not getting statements. There's money missing. There's things that are being contested. There's the children aren't. It's a lack. I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a lack of respect.
Yeah. So
it is a lack of respect.
So it's basically lawyers,
really about
people that didn't know Tupac that are reaping the benefits.
No, this is the thing. They knew him, but you're still an employee. And what I mean by that is, like, if you pass and I run your estate, these are your daughters right here, right? How should I treat them?
Right.
Really, really, like, while you sitting here, if Tupac was here right now, how would he expect you to treat them?
Right.
If I'm just like, man, I ain't listening to y'all. We do what we want over here. I'll throw you some money when I want to. And
yeah, that's
you
crazy.
know, like, man,
that's
crazy. Can I see a statement? Nah, man, fuck your statement.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And they hide behind the fact of these people have class. They would never want to say anything. They're not incendiary. They're people of action. They take care of children. They feed babies. They buy legs for kids that don't have them. That's what they're doing when you're not hearing them. They don't sit on podcasts. Not a offense. She doesn't do that. She does the work of the people, like her mother, like her father, like her brothers, like her aunties, like Saladin Shakur, where it all started. They do the work of the people. They're not going to do this. They're not looking for fame and attention or none of that.
I don't think I've ever seen Set.
Exactly.
I've never seen that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where I met Set was with you.
Yeah.
We were doing community
in KC.
In KC.
What was we doing?
Yeah, we were doing community stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
So only in this twisted, fucked up world do we penalize that person. Because in our business, it's about money. If you ain't about the money, if you and I hustle together, I get $1 million check, you get $1 million check, and you take your $1 million check to Kansas City and give $1 million away, the rest of us is like, that nigga suspect. Something wrong with him. We can't fuck with him. We got to take his bag.
Right.
But if you take that money and buy guns and dope and whatever fuck with it, we like, man, that's my man.
Real shit.
You understand?
Real shit. Yeah.
That's something wrong with that,
It
bro.
is, bro.
And I am often accused at speaking out of turn, right? The documentary, the reason why I decided to do it, I said I wouldn't do it.
Which is the
Dear
Mama.
Which is the Dear Mama documentary.
Yep.
I got a call from QD3. Quincy Jones, the third, is like my friend. The weird thing about our families is my father is the first one to give his dad, Quincy Jones, a job in the business. Me and Q been friends for probably 25 years or so. Q called me, he asked me to meet him. He was in Silicon Valley. And I went out to Silicon Valley and met with him. And I was going there to have lunch and tell a good friend politely, fuck no. But he sold me on something.
Right. What was that?
And I believe he was right. He said, how many of these projects are going to go out with a caricature of who this man was? There's an entire generation of our people and people around the world that have no idea who Tupac is.
Right.
Look at the disrespect. Look at what people say. Oh, he was this, he was that, he was weak. You saying that, what he said, they talk shit, but that's after I'm gone because they fear me in the physical form. Man wasn't that tall, didn't weigh that much, giant. Giant. Always has been. He always was the leader of his circle. There was always the outlaws. When they was kids, the outlaws was there. It was always that, right? He was always the one to sacrifice. He was always the one to, I'm not gonna sleep because if I only sleep 3 hours, then I can feed 5 more people in my family or outside of my family. Man, these dudes is not men like my man was.
Yeah.
They are not giants like my guy was. Facts.
Yeah.
Real facts.
So let me ask you, being that you were so close to Pac, and so close to his family and basically family, what do you think about the movies like All Eyes on Me? What was your thought on that?
I have respect for the fact that LT tried to do a great Pac film, right? It was kind of marred from the beginning, I think, because whatever happened in the process of acquiring it, right? Afeni wasn't happy with it and didn't want to do it, I believe. Now, mind you, I'm speaking for Ray.
Right.
But we'll just say, I don't think she wanted to do it the way it was done.
Okay.
I told you, we were talking about this before we started recording. If you're going to do a story on the life of a human being, you put it all up on the board and you break it up into sections, right? And you're going to say, for this part of life, I'm going to stand for you, right? Me and you, we was in high school together. I'm going to stand for you in this time. Your parents is going to stand in this time. Your grandmother is going to fill in this slot. Your kids is going to fill in that slot, right?
Right.
That's how you do it. But when they sat down to do the storyboard of it, right? There was gaps in there.
Right.
And the reason why there was gaps in there is because most people that love Tupac don't want nothing to do with this bullshit. Don't want nothing to do with this Hollywood shit. They don't want no fame. And matter of fact, your money ain't good here either. Wow. They don't care. Because the truth is, we are always asking the same question. What kind of story are you telling? There's a TV show I did called Final 24. And mind you, I don't do this. Final 24 was really the breaking point for me. I stopped doing shit after that because what they sold to me and what came out was something different. I ain't like the whole premise of the show. I find out later the show is about the last 24 hours in your life. Slow moving, gratuitous murder, death, and destruction. Not just a Tupac, but a whole bunch of my heroes and people that I love. Like, your whole show is not about the substance of a person, of a human being. The totality of a human being is being summed up in the last hours of your life. And they want us to be excited about watching the death, the overdose, the murder, the whatever of a human being, an actual person. Right? I get it. People say Tupac's still alive, and they have all of this shit because they missed the fact that this was actually a person.
Right.
And to his people, they would rather have Tupac working at UPS and still alive than any of that shit. Fuck your records, fuck your movies, fuck all that shit. Tupac felt that, Tupac to him to produce and create, he felt like he needed to be a voice for the ones who had no voice, be it that you was in the deepest fucking hole in jail or the deepest hole in a ghetto somewhere, right? I get hit by people all over the world. People in Africa, people hit me from Africa. They live in a village, no shoes, nothing. And they like, man, we love you, brother. We love you, and we stand with you. And there's hundreds of us just here in this village, right? Picture that all over the world, all over Europe, all over China. That has very little to nothing to do with a song.
Right.
It's about everybody wants something sacred. Everybody wants somebody to see them and really stand for something. You got to get Layla on here. Like, she has some real interesting shit. She and I were sitting down, and Tupac's poetry book was actually created way, way back in 1989.
The rose that grew from the concrete one?
Yeah. You want to make some news? The Rose That Grew from Concrete was written to me.
Wow.
When I was 16, I was suicidal. And I took 29 Tylenol pills for 1,000 different reasons, which is very uncommon for a young black male. Usually we take our rage out on each other.
Exactly, yeah.
But I was kicked out of school. They wouldn't let me go to school. They wanted me to go to juvenile hall until I was 18. I had no support system for real. This man wrote, and he would often get your book and say, let me write something to you. And what's unique about when he's writing to you versus when he's just writing is he signs and dates it. So if you get the Rose That Grew from Concrete book, you will see that it has no signature and no date. That means it's a copy. So he would write it to you, and then he would quickly copy it in his own book. Most people have never seen it. He wrote it to me. He signed it and dated. It has 2 poems on it. The Rose That Grew from Concrete and Things That Make Hearts Break, right? And he was like, isn't it amazing? Aren't we all amazing? And at the time he's saying this, we ain't got shit. I don't got nothing. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. What's amazing? Man, isn't it amazing that with no water and no sun and no soil, here we are. That's the miracle. Mm-hmm. So he wrote it. It's a bunch of people that he wrote letters to, really deep shit that he wrote poems to, he wrote raps to. And, you know, a part of the disrespect that I was talking about from the powers that be is that if they find out that he wrote a letter to you, they'll send the attorneys over there and come to take it from you.
Try to claim it as part of the estate and intellectual property.
Yeah. And then you see it pop up on them sales websites where they selling Madonna's letter that he wrote to her.
Yeah,
like
right.
That's
crazy. But this is the crazy part about the whole thing is that there's so many of us that can't be bought. That there's not $1 billion and fucking a mansion that you could get. Man, most of us is 100% committed. Right. There's people that have held on to things and held on to the legacy and kept it and held it for his family and for the kids. Really, it was all about the kids.
Right.
You know, Pac used to say funny shit. He'll say, I don't really got shit for the homies. But for your kids though, everything, anything they want.
Yeah.
This is all for the kids.
Yeah.
Kind of don't got shit for the homies.
That's
like you got 2 legs, you got arms, you got shit, nigga, we hustling, get the hustling.
Yeah.
But for your kids, anything, everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. P says the same thing, Master P. When we go places, he would say that. He say, look, I ain't got nothing for none of you niggas. Old people and kids. He said, I got your kids and I got your parents. He said, you shout
out to P. West Coast Bad Boys, man. We did West Coast Bad Boys together.
That's right.
Phenomenal record, man. Like, shout out to P. Amazing.
Yeah. I want to go ahead.
No, I was saying earlier when we was talking, I said how we're talking a lot about Pac, but for you, I wonder sometimes how incredible it was because for me, I'm a Pac fan and you know, I grew up in that era.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't want to skip over the fact that the same energy that I feel as a fan from Pac and how he took care of people, I feel that from Dre, the other guy.
Sure.
That you like took care of so many people, took care of so much.
To this day.
To this day.
To this day, a good chunk of the Bay Area rappers and artists and everything are still eating and surviving off of his legacy.
Talking about Mr. Fab
it's not that they owe Dre something, but what they owe is to pay it forward to the next person.
Right.
Dre signed me. Dre put Maul in the studio the first time. Dre, the most of the hyphy movement is somewhere between Rick Rock and Mac Dre.
That's right.
That collectively they created this hyper energy because it was mob music before that.
Mob music.
Yeah, it was
Sam
real.
Exactly.
Yeah. But not just like the whole energy. It was mob music. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Dre comes home with absolutely nothing. He can't even afford really studio time or great beats or anything. He said, give me any beats, I'm gonna go in there and wreck it. And he creates this energy around fun, which was a conscious decision.
Because he could have been the most gangster,
right?
He could have been like Dre wasn't no punk. Like Dre could go there with you. Like Pac could go there with you. He chose a positive lane.
Yeah, he leaned into the fun because I remember
he leaned into the fun.
Because it was like he reinvented himself. Because the Mac Dre I remember from, again, California Living, you know, it was On My Toes. It was more pimpish player, kind of gangster.
Yeah.
But then he started creating these alter egos and these characters and
in a weird way, you have to understand, like, Dre grew up in a time of, you know, Shock G, right?
Yep.
Shock G was all fun. Like, I don't even know. There's nobody to compare him to. He's like my mentor, big brother. He put me on. He was always a very, very good friend. Shock G was the rock star's rock star. Almost none of us is rock star like this dude. Like, when Prince gets writer's block, he calls Shock G. I'm not making it up. That's a real story. One night, I'm hanging out with a girl and I'm looking through her CDs back in that time, and it's I think the CD is Crystal Ball, and I'm reading on the back, and it's like Prince record produced by Shock G. Now I don't know nothing about this. I'm offended. I pick up the phone. Hey man, your name is on the back of a Prince record. Is this a typo or is this a real thing? You know what that man said to me?
What?
Oh man, you know, I think I did do that. Yeah. Yeah, he called me out to Paisley Park. We made some records. If Prince called me and said he wanted me, Ray Love, to go to Paisley Park and do a record, bro, I'm gonna have a t-shirt. I'm gonna have a t-shirt. I'm telling my mama, yo mama, everything, right? But that's how cool he was. Like the dude played keys for Sting on tour. He played for Liza Minnelli. Like I was hanging out with some friends of mine, and we just having fun on the piano, and his mom comes out and goes, "Can't you guys play anything else? Like, do you know Gershwin?" He just goes straight into George Gershwin. He just like, wow. You understand?
Yeah.
That's why I said I don't sing and I don't play. I don't have to. I'm surrounded by the most amazing human beings, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Going back to Mac Dre for a second, Too Short had a video shoot, just to give you a perspective on Mac Dre. Mac Dre has been Mac Dre longer than there was a Tupac or a Ray Love or anything. 1989, 1990, Too Short has Short Dog in the House, video cassette, video shoot, which is very, very rare. Very rare for a rapper at that time to have a length video cassette. And it's at the Omni in Oakland. Ice Cube is there. Mark Curry is telling jokes and interviewing people.
Shout out to Mark Curry.
Shout out to Mark Curry. I'm there with Tupac and Shock. We all came together. I actually rapped because I used to ask Short all the time, every time. I said, "Hey man, let me rap." This night I ended up getting to rap. I'm in high school. I got class day after tomorrow, right? And they turn it out. And when they turn it out, I hide under the stage, like where you they put the chairs and shit. I hide under the stage because in my mind they spent so much money on this, they gonna have to start shooting again soon, like filming again soon. I hide under there, but before I hide under there, we over here talking, and Shock G is the man, and we the little youngsters with Shock G. Mac Dre comes in. He's at the door. And someone at the door goes, "Mac Dre's here." And Too Short stops the show and says, "Mac Dre." And I'm like, yo, this nigga is really like a star.
Wow. And you said, and this is in what year?
I'm in high school. He's 2 years older than me, a year older than Pac. If he's not in high school, he just barely graduated.
Damn.
And Ice Cube is here.
Yeah.
And Digital Underground is double platinum. And everybody stopped because Mac Dre came to the door.
Wow.
You feel me?
Wow.
That's when I say Dre was always a star. He was always Mac Dre. He was always like famous to me, to us.
Yeah.
But after that, they turn it out and they start filming again. And it was nobody else in the building. And so it was like Too Short, Ice Cube, Shock G, Tupac, T-Bone from the Lynch Mob, and me. We the only ones on stage. There's not a crowd. If you watch it, they blocked it out, and they only show on the stage because there's no crowd no more. And we ended up getting a ride home from Ice Cube and shit. And then I went to school. I went to Oakland. It took me 2 days to get back to Santa Rosa, and I had class the next day.
Wow. Is this America's Most Wanted Ice Cube? Had he already went solo?
This is America's Most Wanted. This is America's Most Wanted Ice Cube.
So what was that ride like with Ice Cube?
Man, I'm not just I'm with Ice Cube. I'm with Shock G.
Yeah.
I'm with, me and Pac is really like young, right? But it's like, our first big show was Mac Dre. Like the first big show that me and Tupac had together was like, man, we got the Mac Dre show this weekend, man. We're going to do one this weekend, one and that. Like, this a big deal for us. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a video somewhere of me and Pac staying in the Tenderloin in San Francisco. We had a show to do, Digital Underground record. I want to say one of their record release parties. Because they had multiple, I think, for for Sex Packets. And we just on the bed in the mirror rapping Cool Nut. Like we were students of the game. We were fans of the game. Not to mention everything that damn near came out of New York. You know, Cool G Rap, of course. You know, that the whole fucking Juice Crew movement.
Just for the fans, though, what was the Mac Dre Pac relationship? Like,
so the interesting thing is
because
Mac Dre was a Tupac fan, and Tupac was a fan of Mac Dre first, right? So we did 2 shows together. The one in Marin City got turned out because one thing you have to understand about the Bay Area in that time, not a safe place,
right?
To go from nowadays, kids they be in 3 or 4 counties for different cities. It wasn't like that at all.
No, it was on with
like
Oakland
it was
and Richmond.
Dangerous.
Yeah, Richmond and Oakland beefing and
my first shows, my first show in Frisco, they turned it out. Shot the joint up. I was so dumb. I invited all my friends from Richmond, Oakland. And nobody got along. Everybody turned it out.
Right.
Our first show with Mac Dre in Marin City turned out. It was that kind of party. Like and the crazy part about Frisco, they'll love your music and still beat your ass and still love your music. Shout out to Black Sea. Yeah. Shout out to all my niggas from Fillmore. Like real shit though.
Let me ask you, what would you want the world to know about Mac Dre and Tupac? What would they know? What, because you being intimately close with them as brothers, who was Andre Hicks? Who was Tupac Shakur?
So kind of separately, Mac Dre, it would be, I don't even know what it would be like being depressed or under the weather around Mac Dre. Mac Dre's energy was always up. Like he wasn't gonna let you be down. Come on, Cuddy, we finna get outside. We finna turn up. We finna do this. Like he so believed in his people and his friends that he expected greatness from everybody. One thing that they have in common is an incredible work ethic. Like these men work like very few artists I've ever worked with. Like I use them as a ruler for artists that I manage.
That's right.
Like these is 2 and 3 song a day artists and shows on the weekends. You know what I mean? For different reasons, maybe.
I worked at a studio in Sacramento back when the feature game was like $1,500, get you, 16 bars or 8 bars for half of that. Dre did so many features, bro. He just he would come in. I don't remember what his rates were, but he would come in and just knock feature and then do his own music.
Yeah.
Like at Hollis's studio and some of the Sacramento studios. Like he was knocking it out.
So when we first started in the studio, Layla put us in to a studio, but a lot of the first stuff was started with Dope Money, like studio time.
That's right.
And whatever you feel about that, you have to understand studios back when we started, Tupac and I,
expensive as shit, bro.
There was 2 ways. Dre had Kyrie, who had a studio at his house. He's running on 1 inch.
Reel to reel was super expensive.
Super expensive. And that was a significant investment. On our side, shout out to Richmond, California, really for all Richmond, California, what Richmond, California did for hip hop. There needs to be a movie about it because not just Calvin T and Magic Mike, the guys that put up the money for us and looked out for us, Man, Mike Cooley, these guys, like they put real money. It was $3,500 a day for the studio. So we would do 24-hour studio sessions. You want to know where Pac's work ethic came from? You got 24 hours. So you had to have maybe 8 songs already written.
That's right.
And then you going in there, and then when you match it up with the beat, some shit might not work. Now you got to change something. Now we got to change it on the spot. So everybody hot. If you're a good rapper, you hot for the first 6, 8 hours, maybe 10. But when you get in hour 12, hour 16, hour 18, now it's the next day. your breath stinking.
That shit was
Everybody
rough.
like, man, the Hennessy gone, the weed is gone, niggas done left. They not, man, I gotta go, man. My baby mama calling me, man. Everybody got reasons, and you just in there.
Yeah.
That's a testament of who you are.
That's right.
So for Pac doing 5 songs a day, people was amazed that was by necessity, and it became a habit. That's the way he understood the studio. When you go to the studio, get off your ass and get this shit done.
That's right. That's right.
And you put up them numbers, and then because realistically, you might do 50 songs before you find 10 that you really, really like, and you really connect with people. You feel me?
That's right.
For Dre, I think for Dre, I don't even think it was necessity. I think Dre, this is who he was. This is what he did. He always had something to say. Some shit was always funny to him or interesting, and he wanted to address it. He wanted to talk about it. Or like some gangster shit went down and he want to put his 2 cents in and own it. You feel me? Dre was a freak of nature, bro.
Yeah.
Like not normal at all. And he was really, out of all of us, I think the most comfortable with being a celebrity, a star, being famous. Yeah. That was his comfort zone. He loved people, bro. Like, if you ask multiple communities in the Bay Area, Filipinos will tell you Mac Dre with us. Mexicans will tell you, no, Mac Dre with us. White people tell you, nah, man, Mac Dre with us. But Mac Dre would disappear for days. Like, man, where Dre at? He ain't answering his phone, man. He over here with y'all. With your mama. He ain't even with you. He talking to your grandfather about some shit. So everybody saw him as a part of their community. And that's why, to this day, Mac Dre is even more famous. I've been working for Mac Wanda for 8 years. Been the chief operating officer for Mac Wanda for at least the last 5 or 6, right? We do Mac Dre Days every year. Every year it grows. Every year it gets bigger. Every year the line gets longer. Every year they come out there earlier. The last Dre Day we did, they start lining up. It's 16, 17-year-old white girls lined up at noon. The doors don't open till 7:45. The show don't start till damn near 8:30. The DJ starts spinning at about 8:30. The acts don't start coming on till 9. Wait, when he died, you wasn't even alive though.
Right. Yeah.
Bro, that's special.
That's special.
Bro. That's unique.
Yeah.
He is a cult classic. His records only seem like they're going up in sales. We try to create products for Dre, for his brand, that his audience, that Dre would like and that his audience would appreciate. We did the beer. We did soda with exotic pop. There's Thiz clothing, that they're doing out there. We're about to do a documentary. I probably can't say too much about it, but we're doing a documentary with a phenomenal company, a huge company, and somebody we think that you're going to be very happy about. We're about to do some real interesting, unique things with the catalog around Dre, and some unique things with publishing and books with Dre.
Nice.
We're going to keep it fun because that dude was fun. Honestly, working for Thiz Entertainment for Mac Wanda is one of the funnest things I've ever done in hip-hop. Like, for real. Yeah, real interesting.
Is there a tie between Thiz and Thiz Nation? Like, what?
Of course.
Like,
Thiz Nation is Kilo Kurt predominantly, and what Thiz Nation was born on was when Dre passed. All of these artists came together, and we missed them. We wanted to do shit, and we all got together and did records and put shit together and kind of kept it lit. There was a whole 10, 15-year period where Kilo was really, putting in. He's the reason why it, I think, stayed lit like that, because they was constantly moving, and a lot of cats in that circle, Diggs bleed Thiz, you know what I mean? Like, he does his thing and keeps it moving. I think the agendas are different because Wanda wants the world to know Andre Hicks, right? The homies want the world to remember Mac Dre, right? And I think that there's space for both. I think it's important for both, right? Because Andre Hicks is just as dope as Mac Dre. I'll let you like figure that out.
Yeah, no, I got you. I
but
follow.
yeah, like real talk.
Yeah.
You know,
let me ask you, did you ever have any dealings? Because we just had Ice-T's daughter, and you know, we've had Ice-T twice on the show. Have you ever ran into him in your days in the game?
Who, Ice?
Yeah, Ice-T.
Oh, bro, like excuse me. Ice, I met when I first met him, I was doing Forever Hustling. And it was a gang rally in South Central. And we was really kind of like, I think, I don't know if we was afraid, but it was like a dangerous time. Everybody ran with their crews. Everybody was strapped. You know, everybody was like, you know, it was a lot going on during that time period, right? So like, I'll say 95 type time. And I meet Ice-T, and I've always been an Ice-T fan.
Yeah.
Ice-T is one of the most underrated as a rapper. Artists. Because, you know, they remember Ice-T for Colors. I remember Ice-T for Rhyme Pays. I remember Ice-T for, you know, I'm your mother, your... Like, he always gave you the game balance.
Exactly.
Right? You want to gangbang, you know how it ends. You want to deal dope, you know how it ends. If you're pimping, this is what happens. Blah, 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 right? So I meet Ice, he's by himself. We chopping it up. I'm like, man, good to meet you, Ice. We turn around, we walk off. Get about 50 yards away, Ice-T's still with us. I'm like, yo, Ice is hanging with us. Oh, this shit wild, right?
Yeah.
So we hanging out, we chopping it up. I say, Ice, where your people at?
Yeah.
I said, what you mean? I said, man, you ain't got nobody with you? It's like, nah. I said, man, where you ain't got no security or nothing with you? It's like, nah. I said, why you don't have no, why you, like you just at a gang rally by yourself? He said, man, I don't lie, cheat, or steal. I don't owe nobody nothing. I ain't took nothing from nobody, and I'm always just me.
Wow.
And if a cat wants something that I mean, you know, they can have that, right? He goes, but I'm not, I'm never out of bounds. Like I'm at home.
Right.
And that stuck with me. It affected me to the point where it's a part of my playbook is how I carry my life. When you see me, with somebody, you seeing me with my family. See me with my children, see me with my daughter, you see me with my brothers, you see me with my nephew, you see me with my people, right? Now, I am aware that we live in a time, you know, where I think we was talking about the check-in stuff earlier, right? I'm also respectful of people, right? I'm not going to go where people is hungry with 100,000 in jewels, 200,000 in jewels on. I would rather go there and feed the people.
That's right.
Change some shit. Real shit.
That's right.
I do think that there is a way that you carry yourself, and I think people is way too comfortable hiding behind cell phones and keyboards and hiding behind your soldiers and your police officers, and sometimes they the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like way too comfortable with that to where like, where are you in all of this shit?
Exactly.
I see all the shit.
Too much of that, not enough of you.
Man, listen, man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. If somebody want to get you, they're gonna get you.
They're gonna get you.
It's about how committed they are to getting you.
That's right.
But what you need to ask yourself is, how am I living my life that somebody is so committed to get me, they'll kill all the people with you to do it?
That's right.
Right? I stand on principle. People that's mad with me right now is mad with me because I defend the weak. I stand with people that are other people is trying to violate in some way. Nigga, I don't need no money. So that's not my motivation. I don't need no fame or attention. So that's not my motivation. My motivation is being able, Pac said, I could look in the mirror and still see myself. If I'm standing there and I'm watching you violate the little homie over there, and I look in the mirror, I can no longer see myself. I see a caricature of who the fuck I used to be or who I'm supposed to be. I think it's weird that we are so comfortable with the scamming.
Right.
And it's like, it's like poverty pimping, right? You could say, I love black people, I love brown people, and you black and brown, or I love my people, poor people. But if you taking advantage of the poor and you taking advantage of black and brown, man, why don't you go to Beverly Hills and rob them?
That's right.
But you don't want real smoke.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You want to catch the antelope with the broke leg.
Yeah.
You
know, just like when the police pull up, niggas will run. You know what I mean? When the police come, you scared as hell.
Man, if you really bout that life, like
but
be
10 niggas life. Can pull up with choppers and niggas gonna stand their ground and bang it out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. Because who was it? Somebody was saying, Nipsey, I think, said, he's like, the weird thing about gangbanging is that you can differentiate between who's a member and who's not, right?
This is true.
So technically, you out looking for yourself.
For yourself,
You looking for the one that looks like you,
dresses like you,
dresses like you, and carries itself like you.
Absolutely.
You are trying to kill yourself the long way.
That's the realest shit too.
Real shit.
And you know, the thing about it is, you know, we, to some degree, I don't know if I do it now. If one of us walk in, now I know how to check myself, but if one of us walk in and got that look, my eyebrow go up. I start paying attention, like, what this nigga on? You know what I'm saying? Then I got to check myself, like, okay, just speak. How you doing, my brother? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I realize that for a lot of the time, we're driven by fear and insecurity, right?
Yep.
And a deep self-hatred that is very hard for us to acknowledge, right? So for me, I process things through words, right? When I'm feeling away, I called my sister the other day. I'm like, man, I think sometimes I be a little racist against our own people. What I mean by that, I see some nigga shit going on. I'm like, these niggas. And I just get extra mad, right? When really what I need to do probably is cross the room and say, hey, bro, let me holler at you. What's that? Like, bro, why we, you know? Now, a lot of people our age will say, man, I don't talk to them youngsters, man. You talking to them youngsters, man. I haven't found that to be true, actually. I think that that's an easy way out. To say, man, I ain't gonna talk to them cats on that, you know, on the corner. They on some bullshit. But I remember people talking to me. I've had amazing things that happened in my life just from listening. Me and Mac Mall got a call one day from Layla and QD3. QD3 is a big Silicon Valley dude, always has been. I think he was in the room when they turned YouTube on type shit, right? And he had some passes for a conference, right? Just to show you how listening to your elders, what it means. He had some passes for this conference called Always On Conference. This is back when my daughter was born. She's 13 now, so about 13 years ago. And I'm on my way out the door to go to this conference, and my dad called me. Me and my dad we be arguing. I think I'm cooler. He think he know more, like big country, little country type funk, right? And he's like, hey man, where you going? I said, man, I'm going to Silicon Valley, you know. He was like, how you dressed? I'm like, here we go again with this bullshit. He's like, man, you know, maybe you might want to put on a suit. I don't want to put on a suit. I'm Ray. I'll be the same everywhere I go. He said, that's kind of what my point is. Like, if you want to meet new people and you want to experience different things,
that's right.
Maybe you might try to.
That's right.
This time, I put on a suit. I go to Silicon Valley. I go to the conference. Mr. Fab is there. Shout out Mr. Fab. Mac Mall comes with me. We all is there at this event, and it's like, I look at the wall and they got Twitter up there. And I'm like, what the fuck is a Twitter? It's 32,000 people on Twitter. We all signed up for Twitter that day. So we're in the first 32,000 people to sign up to Twitter. I didn't get it. They was just like, I'm at the hamburger stand. The cheeseburgers is whack. Don't get them. I'm like, what am I looking at? But I signed up. We signed up for all this shit. After that, go out to a restaurant. I'm outside smoking a cigarette. And because I'm dressed nice, it gave someone license to have a conversation with me that they probably wouldn't have. Dude's name is Troy. Shout out Troy Bird. Troy walks up to me and goes, hey man, what do you do? So I'm a rapper. He's like, what, like a mogul or something? I'm like, nah, just a rapper. He was like, interesting. He's trying to, I could see him processing, trying to figure it out. You in Silicon Valley. It's like, well, let's trade numbers, man. Let's chop it up. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I do a little of this, little of that. 48 hours later, he calls me, and he's Steve Wozniak from Apple, the owner of Apple, one of the owners, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak. He's Steve Wozniak's like assistant. He answers emails and does all this shit. He calls me and he goes, "Want to come and hang out? Like, come to the house in Los Gatos?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" But I don't know. He doesn't tell me it's Steve Wozniak's house. He's like, "I want to introduce you to some people." I come up to the house. I get to the house. It's a regular looking house, sort of. Not really, because it's built around the side of the mountain. But that's another story. I get to the house. I walk in. And he's like, "I want to introduce you to Steve. He's the owner of Apple." "Steve who?" "Steve Wozniak, Steve and Steve." Same thing I said, right? And I meet Steve Wozniak, and I'm at his house. I'm in his living room. I meet his son, Gary. We chilling. We chilling. We talking. We drinking. And I stay the night. Now, in junior high school, we used to have computer classes, right? We had you would get them once or twice a week.
Yep.
And I love computer class. You'll play Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail.
Come
on now.
Don't get stuck in that river.
But here's the thing. We was broke as shit, so we never had no computer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I want a computer. And my dad like, niggas in hell want ice water. I feel it, but we couldn't afford that. Fast forward, I'm sleeping in this man's library. And I wake up, and then Steve Wozniak took me to two concerts. Took us to two concerts. One was Public Enemy, and the other one was Linkin Park. And we sat in Woz's box, which is supposedly the best sound in the theater. And I'm like, what is happening right now? My father said, if you wanted something different, you have to move different.
That's right.
You have to try something different.
Yep.
And it's not about who he is. I actually ended up having a kind of interesting relationship with his son, and his son was going through some shit, and I gave him some advice, and I'm like, y'all, wow, y'all just be letting like random black dudes in your house like that. But it wasn't. It was a purely human connection.
Right.
I'm friends with Troy Bird to this day. I say that to say this, like, nobody can tell you where you belong. Nobody can tell you how you supposed to, we ain't supposed to be over there. Like, man, I never know where I'm supposed to be.
That's right.
I'm the most uppitiest black man that you know. I go where I want. I move how I want. I bring my people how I want. I don't care if you got tats on your face. We going. You feel me? Because it's really about the content of what comes out of your mouth.
That's right.
Not even how you say it. People say, it's how you say some shit. Nah, because I know a lot of demons that speak real eloquently. What did you say?
Eloquent.
Eloquent. I'm using that. My man said eloquent. Yeah, I know a lot of black-hearted people that eloquent really well. Right? But it's about who you are for real.
Right.
Who you are for real, and stand on that.
That's a dope message.
And be fearless when you stand on it.
Yeah.
Don't put a price on yourself, because when you do that, you prostituting yourself, and you ain't even setting the price. I heard somebody say something one time. They said, "Oh, don't give him the check, just pay him in fame." And they was talking about somebody else. And I thought to myself, damn, did motherfuckers pay me in fame sometimes?
Yeah.
Oh, give him the magazine cover.
Right.
Oh, let him go do the show. Don't pay him. Just pay him in fame. We'll keep the money.
Right.
Don't let people pay you in fame.
That's a word, bro. That's a word. I mean,
most powerful word in the English language. No. Get used to saying that shit. Just take a whole year where you just say no to everything. People say yes. Nah, I'm going to show you real power. Say no to everything. Then when people come at you, they got to come at you in a way like, hold up, okay, let's respect this person. What is it? How can we do a deal with you? Because other than that, They'll throw that little shit in front of you like, sign it, dummy, or don't.
I tell people all the time, you can't be afraid to lose a deal, and you never make a decision when you're desperate.
I don't even pay the meter when I go in there to sign a deal, because I already know I'm finna tell you no, and I'm walking out. Unless, like, and that's not to be an asshole. What I'm saying is like, if you're an authentic person and you handle me in an authentic way,
right?
I'm gonna say, nephew, go pay the meter. We're gonna stay a while. You want some coffee?
Yeah.
But if I'm just going here and I know how this shit go, okay, yeah, fuck me. And then you have to go through the whole process of finding out who you talking to.
Yep.
Man, don't even pay the meter, man. We going to Roscoe's. Real shit.
Yeah, give me the Obama.
Yeah, that's what my daughter's funny. She a straight A student. And I took her to the premiere, and she was happy to see, our family, but she's not impressed. She's not amused. She's not none of that shit.
Yeah.
She's like, I be having to check her. She was like, I thought we don't like it. Damn, hold on.
We stay in the car.
Yeah, like she takes shit for real and she's not impressed, right? And what I love about that is that my children already know that there's a hell of a lot of things more valuable than money.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, man, listen, I appreciate that. That's a word, brother. I just wanted, man, I'm glad you came to the show.
100%. I'm glad you had me on for
Absolutely,
real.
brother. We've been saying we was gonna do something, but I think the timing was perfect, and I really just wanted to give you your flowers, you know what I mean?
Respect,
just even from the hip hop community, let you know we appreciate what you have contributed, you know what I mean? And the work that you're doing now, just with the youth, and even with Tupac, making sure everything is straight and still staying connected with the family, and making sure that truth and justice is being served. Righteousness, you know what I mean?
100%.
And with Dre, man. And with our North Carolina.
100%.
Yeah.
And shout out Mac Wanda too. Yeah. Like, man, she's amazing. She gives us all the space that we need to be creative and be successful. And she don't have to. She don't need the money. She don't need none of that. She really does everything she does for her son's supporters and fans. Like, she wants them to enjoy themselves because she really don't have to. So shout out to her.
Shout out to Mac Wanda.
Shout out to Setua, you know what I mean, for holding it down.
Absolutely.
Because I just want y'all to know the way she's standing up right now, man, you could count them on probably one hand the black people, let alone a black woman, that stands up against the tyrannical industry and do that shit day in and day out on principle.
Man, shout out,
man.
Send us some love.
If y'all wanna support, go to the foundation website, TASF.org, and you can find out all the ways. And if not, if you have a problem there, hit in my inbox, hit in TASF IG, and they'll give you all the way.
And what's your IG? Let them know what your IG
My
is.
IG is The Real Ray Love, RAYLUV. And
that's right. We
man,
got the legend Ray Love. Man, we appreciate you coming, my brother. We had to do this again, brother.
Yeah,
hey, so Holding Court Podcast, man. Rachel, Renee,
we out.
Producer Ken, Big Court, man. We out of here.
100%.
Yes. Appreciate you, my brother.
I'm holding court, it's standing trial. Why ain't I see you round back when I was down? Karma's on the way. What goes around comes around. Karma's on the way. There's nothing you could do now. You gotta pay.